The Godfather of Harlem, Season 2, Episode 8, The 10 Harlems. We have Bumpy Johnson and the 10 Harlem bosses are having a meeting. At the same time, we see that the mafia families are trying to regroup and get back because they want to unite and fight against the blacks because they feel that the blacks are taking over the drug trade business and whatnot. And we also see that Bumpy Johnson wants uh, the 10 bosses to basically help front the money up for the purchase of the narcotics so they can get the business going. And you could see some hesitation. It's a guy named Sam Christian. And it was interesting because Sam Christian was based on a true person that was a part of the Philadelphia Mafia. Uh, in Philadelphia, they're one of the most notorious, dangerous, violent gangs, and they had ties to the NOI as well. Go figure, but that's the truth. But anyway, so we find out that Sam is making alliances with the mob people. You got Banano and Chinchicante, and they're saying, "Why are you going against Bumpy? That's supposed to be your guy." He said, "Well, I like money and power, just like the rest of it. I want more money and power." So they got a little deal going on, and Chance and Pettigrew basically are spying and going back to Bumpy. So Chance is telling Pettigrew that you're going to have to tell Bumpy the truth because if you don't tell him the truth, I will. So he said, Bumpy might kill me. He said, well, that's just one of the things you just have to deal with. If he does, you know. So Pettigrew goes to Bumpy and tells him what happened, that he was skimming some of the dope off the top and giving it to one of the bosses of the 10 Harlems. And Bumpy wants to kill this guy. Said, I can't trust you. And he said, I can make it right. I can make it right. And he said, okay, what you do is you're going to go back to that guy and tell him that you switch alliances with him. So to make it more believable, Bumpy basically beats him to a pulp. And it was personal because of what happened. Then you got Morgenthau that's trying to get his tirade to destroy the mob bosses, and he has arrested 23 of the mob figures of the. He's trying to, destroy all the families, and there's a guy that's supposed to be a representative of Adam Clayton Powell, because Adam Clayton Powell is supposed to come there to do a photo op, but Adam Clayton Powell doesn't want to do that because he's a pillar in the community as a civil rights leader and a politician in Harlem. So he gets his representative to go there to take the picture with Morgenthau. Along with that, the whole thing with Stella. Um, uh, Morgenthau tries to get her in the car and stuff and saying that he's going to get her to testify. And there's wiretaps, in the houses of these different mob people, crooks and everything, that she goes on the phone and talks to her uncle that is a one of those chaplains in the church, Catholic chaplain, and he's also a family friend, and she confesses to killing Benny. Then you got the situation with Malcolm X. The Nation of Islam is trying to kick Malcolm X out of his home. And then he goes publicly on television and talks about the indiscretions of the messenger with the teenage underage girls. And people in the nation are angry with him. And, it's really bad because they're trying to, and he doesn't want to be thrown out the house. That's the only house they got, but the Nation of Islam owns the house that they got. So they trying to evict him out the house. So he goes meets with Elise, and she's his eyes and ears in the temple, and she's telling him about what's going on, that the Supreme Captain Omar is coming to the temple and visit, and Malcolm wants her to leave the temple. She says she doesn't want to leave the temple. She wants to be his eyes and ears. He says very dangerous, and Malcolm suggests to Betty to take the kids with his sister Ella in Boston, so they'll be probably safer. But Omar, Supreme Captain, goes to the temple. The MGT are those Muslim women that train in the temple doing the martial arts. And he's talking to Captain Henry, who has a disdain. And a lot of people in the temple have a disdain for Malcolm. You could see that. There's probably some that probably didn't, but some you could tell it's a lot of people that didn't like Malcolm for, and they were jealous of Malcolm. I digress. But anyway, he has a meeting, and before he goes to have the meeting, he sees Elise, and they said that Elise used to be a friend of Malcolm, but she in the temple denounced Malcolm, that she's a servant to Elijah Muhammad, the apostle, their leader, and he looks at Elise, and they go in the temple. He tells the Captain Henry that Elijah doesn't want nothing to happen to Malcolm. They want Malcolm to suffer in his disagreement with Elijah, that they want him to suffer, to stay alive and suffer. And he also wants to have lunch with Elise because he has eyes for Elise, Bumpy Johnson's daughter, that's in the temple. So Elise has lunch with him, and he's real smitten with her, and she talks to him, and she said, "How long you been friends with Malcolm?" He said, "Me and Malcolm been friends for a long time. That we joined the temple the same time, but this whole situation with him defaming Elijah Muhammad in the public on the television, they're not happy with that." And he said that he shows interest in Elise, that he's very interested in Elise because he lost his wife to cancer, and he's trying to find him a mate. And he's attracted to Elise. We could see that. So Bumpy knows that about that Sam is the person that's hooked up with the mob, with the Italian families, to try to muscle him out. So Sam basically gets Pettigrew and use him as a bargaining chip so that he can make Bumpy bow down to his will. But Bumpy is so smart. Bumpy's a chess player. He knows what's going on. So they're supposed to have a big meeting, and they want him to bring the French supplier, Monsieur, whatever. So they have this big meeting, and they look like they're bringing the money in, and they said they want Pettigrew so they can take him to the hospital. So, but prior to that, like I said, he talked to one of the mob bosses to find out what was going on, and he said that basically they're going to whack you after you deliver the money, and they're going to whack you. So he was already prepared. So they get Pettigrew, and they, like I said, they bring the money in. It appears a case with some money in it. And then they go back to the car, and they beat up the guys and disarm them, and they go in the trunk and get the machine guns. And Sam, Christian, and the 10 Harlems, they all happy that they got Bumpy out the way so they can be the number one people, They don't want to be under Bumpy no more. So then they see that the money starts smoking, and it's fake money with a bomb in there, and they go in there with blazing guns, Pettigrew, Bumpy, and Chance with the guns, and kills the 10 Harlems. and and they get the money out of those cars to give it to the French supplier. And then you got Bonanno having a funeral for his son Lorenzo that was killed by Chinchicante. And his wife, he tells his wife that he knows who killed their son. It was Chinchicante. He said that breaks the oath with the families, this, that, and the third, and you need to go and take him out. He said, I will. He will pay for our son, but I have to play along with it until the time. Then he said, it's going to just be one boss and one family, and it's going to be you and me and my family, nothing else. So that's going on. And we see the theme, crabs in the barrel, this whole crabs in the barrel thing that's going on this whole episode. And then, everybody's trying to jock for positions. Everybody's trying to jock for their piece of the pie. Typical crabs in the barrel, bringing each other down. And it's supposed to be an organization or a group or something. And we see the same particular theme in this whole episode. Well, that's going to be it for this one. Until next time, everybody take care of yourself and have a nice day. Thank you.